Are you fluent in sports? I'm Anthony, and this is Sports Fluent. We're going to start with the NFL, but you had mentioned you talk about XFL and CFL. And on my last podcast, I put the CFL in the fix because I've been talking about CFL for years and what they need to do to become a viable sports league in Canada and how they can create revenue. So I'm going to put that on the back burner for a second and start with the NFL. So obviously the big thing is there's been some big quarterback moves in the NFL, right? Brady going to the Bucks, Rivers going to the Colts, Bridgewater going to the Panthers. There's been a lot of quarterback movement. So is there one that you think, obviously, Brady to the Bucks is a big one, but is there another one that you think this is going to be a big turning point in the franchise for getting this quarterback? Or is it just, hey, you know what? It's the Bucks and Brady. That's a big change.
I think Bucks and Brady. I'm a Patriots fan, so it obviously hate me when Brady left, and I don't really like to talk about it since he left a lot. But I think obviously if Jameis Winston can win what the Bucks won last year, like 7 or 8 games last year, if Jameis Winston can do that, Brady's not going to turn the ball over that much. He is not. He's not giving it to the other team like that. I mean, I think the most interceptions he's ever thrown in a year is probably 12 or 14. He's not going to turn the ball over like that. Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions. Jameis will throw you 30 touchdowns, but he'll give you 30 interceptions. You know what I mean? You can't have that. So I think, and then the skill position, you got Evans, Gronk, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, Chris Godwin. I mean, they just signed LaShawn McCoy. He has a better team around him now. I think the Bucs can win 11, 12 games this year. I think Tom Brady, and the Super Bowl's in Tampa Bay this year, I think Tom Brady is going to drastically improve that offense and that team. And that defense is up and coming as well. So I think the biggest quarterback movement to me is Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay.
Okay. Now, I'm working on my NFL previews and predictions. So this week, I've got the AFC South. I haven't gone through and done it yet. But I want to get your take on, is this a wrap? Like or is it kind of up and down? How do you feel about the AFC South this year?
If I'm going to rate my teams based off record 1 through 4 this year, based off who's going to lead the division, I think the Titans are going. I think Titans going to win the division. Cause I love AJ Brown. He's a stud wide receiver. They got Corey Davis. They signed Derrick Henry. Tannehill, he's a bridge guy, but he's enough to get him to the playoffs. I think the Titans will be at 1. The Texans, I think they're going to surprise people. I think they're going to be number 2. I think the Texans going to make the playoffs. Because I think they're a little underrated team. The Colts, speaking of quarterback, I don't understand the Phillip Rivers signing. I do not get it. And I still can't. I've been sitting on my show with the guys. I've been telling the guys, I don't get it, man. I don't like that fit. I don't like it. So I think they're going to come in at 3, and obviously Jacksonville's going to be 4.
Okay.
But the Colts and the Texans this year, they might fight for a playoff spot. You got Phillip Rivers. And I'm not going to say that they're going to have a terrible season, but I don't like the fit, man. I don't like it. I don't like that fit, man.
All right, so I'll let you know because I'm almost the opposite of you. I think Tannehill was a bad re-sign. I don't think he was the right – I don't think he had a great regular season. Historically, he hasn't been a quarterback that can lead your team. Like you mentioned, he's a bridge quarterback. I almost thought, you know what, they need to either go for in the draft looking at a quarterback or in a different direction than Tannehill. And I'm just not a fan of Tannehill. Maybe that's the case. I don't know if Derrick Henry can repeat what he did last year. Like that, I think that playoff run gave them the wrong sense of confidence that, hey, we're better than I think we are. I love Henry as a running back. Don't get me wrong, he's a beast, but he can't carry that team. I think they're missing out. I agree with you on AJ at wide receiver. He's phenomenal. I actually do have the Colts. I like the Phillip Rivers signing in Indianapolis. I think he'll give them something at quarterback that they haven't had because, well, obviously Andrew Luck with his injury issues. And I like Brissett, but he's going to come in with a bit of a swagger that I think that team needs.
My thing with the Colts is, okay, yeah, you got Phillip Rivers. Who is his offensive weapons? I mean, you got Michael Pittman from USC. He's unproven. We don't know. I mean, he was decent at USC and in college. We don't know where he's going to be in the pros yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he can't stay at the doctor's office. He can't stay healthy. Paris Campbell, he's a slot wide receiver, a gadget guy.
Yeah.
What is he going to give us? So, I mean, who's going to be their tight end? They don't have Ebron. Who's going to be their tight end this year? I think they got a lot of questions on offense. I like their running back with Marlon Mack, and they got Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin. I like that, but I think they got a lot of question marks at the skill position. That's my thing.
That's why this division's been, I think, the toughest for me to go through, because with the other ones, there's a lot of, you got some sure bets and you got some, hey, these guys need to improve. This is the one where, right, the Titans are a question mark. The Texans trading away, DeAndre Hopkins, that's a question mark. The Colts, Phillip Rivers coming in, that's a question mark. Jacksonville, I don't even know what they're doing in Jacksonville, right? This is the probably the only division where you have literally 4 question marks. So that's why I wanted to get your take on it. And I'm going to shift. Okay, so are we doing early predictions here? Who are we going Super Bowl prediction? Are we going that early, or
with the AFC South,
or maybe just teams to watch? How about just teams to watch for this year?
You want me to give you my team to watch this year?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been going back and forth on it for a while. I got a couple of teams. I think the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to be a pretty good team. I know they lost Stephon Diggs, but they got Justin Jefferson from LSU. I love him. They're going to get that contract. They're going to get the contract right with Dalvin Cook. The defense, they got a young defense. I think the secondary is going to be a lot better this year. Minnesota Vikings, watch out for them. I think Kirk Cousins, he kind of answered some question marks last year in the playoff game. I think he got over the hump a little bit. Watch out for the Vikings this year. That's in the NFC. And the AFC, man, I've been thinking about this one for a while too. How about the Denver Broncos?
I like the Denver Broncos.
I think the Broncos are going to have a pretty good. They're in a tough division with the Chiefs. I know.
Yeah.
But I think the Denver Broncos are going to have a pretty good year this year. They got some young talent. They got to stay healthy. They got to protect Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock is a stud. They got Jerry Jeudy. Defense is younger, and they still got Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. The Broncos and the Minnesota Vikings, those are my 2 surprise teams this year. I'm not going to say they're not going to. I don't think they're going to a Super Bowl. Vikings might do some NFC though, but in the AFC, I think the Broncos. I think they're gonna make playoffs.
Yeah, I've got the Broncos. It's actually funny. I got 2 teams out of that division fighting for a wild card, right? Depending on health. Health is always the X factor, right? So assuming they're relatively healthy, right? I like the Broncos and the Raiders fighting for a wild card spot, probably within that division, maybe for that because there's the extra wild card this year, right? So I think those 2 teams might surprise some people. The Raiders being in a new stadium in a new city, that always seems to give some teams a boost. So I'm with you there. So lastly, and then we're going to talk about a little XFL and CFL. Tell me your thoughts on, you mentioned a couple of my jerseys back here on my Bears. So the Bears are in an interesting position. Their defense is going to be, in my opinion, is going to be better than last year, right? They made some key offseason pickups, and I think last year was really just a down season, and that defense is going to pick up. Obviously, the big news on the offensive side is there growth for Mitch Trubisky, or are they going with Foles? Right now, there's a quarterback battle. You see, I watch the daily updates. Looks like Trubisky is actually leading so far. Does he have enough in what you've seen, kind of, because for that first season to the second season, there was a lot of promise, right? He had a good first season, and then you're kind of like, under Nagy, he had a first good season. He dropped off a little bit last year, and it hurt the team. This year, they're saying, hey, he looks better. His mechanics are better. His confidence is better. Having Nick Foles in the mix, kind of pushing him to be better. And when you look at, should he get hurt, because he has been hurt a couple of games of the last few seasons, he hasn't, Chase Daniels has been his backup. And one thing we know about Foles can come in, right? Foles can come in for a game or 2 or a playoff run, as we saw in Philly, and lead a team. Is that enough to get the Bears over, your Minnesota Viking surprise team, and obviously the Packers, who are probably the 2 favorites in that division?
I think with the Bears, they're in a tough division because the NFC got Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be there. This is right. Aaron Rodgers. He's a bad man. He's going to be there. So I think the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to be a tough out. So I think the Bears, I don't see them making playoffs this year. I want to see Khalil Mack have a better year this year. I mean, he was kind of down a little bit last year. I don't know what's going on there. But I want to see what they do. They lost. Who's the defensive end? Who's defensive? They lost a defensive end. I can't think of his name.
The tackle Goldberg. I think he opted out.
Yes, but they lost a defensive end too. Now I want to say number 94. His name on top of my daggone tongue. I can't even think about it. But he went to the Rams. The defensive end they lost. Pass rush. The Chicago Bears. He left. He's not there this year. So I think with the Bears, I think Nick Foles gets them the best. But see, Nick Foles can't stay at the doctor's office. He stays hurt. So if he can stay healthy, They got Robinson. He's a pretty decent wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's a one for the Bears. I want to see more from Anthony Miller. I'm a big Anthony Miller fan. I think he's going to be pretty good.
I like Miller for sure.
Tariq Cohen, he's from North Carolina. So shout out to Tariq Cohen. I like Tariq Cohen. Cordell Patterson. I mean, what they gonna do with him? I heard him.
I heard he's playing running back. I heard they're trying a little bit of running back. He's looked good at running back. And obviously then they got a couple of, they have quite a few tight ends. They still got to, I think, make a couple of cuts there. But with Jimmy Graham and that rookie that they drafted, those it looks like they have some balance there where they'll be able to help Trubisky out with a run game and some short passes. You know, you probably see a lot of 2 tight end sets, I think, out of the Bears this year. So I have them, and maybe I'm optimistic because I'm a fan, right? I'm like you with your Rockets. I got them going 9-7 and fighting for a wild card spot.
I can see that. I definitely can see that. I definitely can see that. It seems like they're deep at tight end for some reason. They got the guy from the kid from Notre Dame. Then they got Jimmy Graham. They got in the draft. I know they had about 7 tight ends on the roster.
At one point they had 10.
Yeah,
and I think they released 1 or 2. They traded 1 away, and I think they're still down at 7. They might still have 7. And so I've been making the joke kind of all spring and summer that watch out for the Bears 4 tight end set because it's coming. But I'm assuming they're going to make some tweaks to the roster there. Unless, I don't know, maybe Nagy does have a 4 tight end set that we've never seen before. So let me switch gears because I could talk Bears probably all day. The XFL. So the XFL had a tough year in the sense that, you know, it was their second go around. They do some things that are really innovative, but then COVID hit and they kind of had to shut down. But now, obviously, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and his ex-wife, Danny Garcia, have purchased the team, and they come with a lot of showmanship, right? A lot of marketing power behind them. So is that enough, you think, to save the XFL this year?
I think it is. I think we'll see the XFL real back soon. And I'm glad you brought the XFL because we've had a couple players come on from the XFL and reporters. And we got some reporters coming up soon, and we can't wait to get real deeper into the XFL with them. But for everything I'm hearing, and I've did my research and talked to my sources, the XFL, they're in a great position. They're gonna be back together soon. And I think, what The Rock has done and the other partners he has with him, it's a very good thing that they have going on there. So I was scared. I like XFL football. There wasn't no football going on at the time, and it was some good Saturday. It was good. The games on Saturday and Sunday were pretty good to watch. So I can't wait for it to get back. And I think they're heading in the right direction.
Do you think that it'll always just be kind of the baby brother to the NFL, or do you think they have a legit shot at being a competitor?
Because it's more of a platform for players that doesn't get to the NFL or where they kicked out of the NFL. They didn't, you know what I mean, for different reasons. So I think the XFL gives them a great shot. And the viewing sport was great. They was getting a big audience. So I think the XFL it gives NFL players and coaches that, you know, maybe they're not good enough for NFL, they've been fired or didn't make team. They get back to the XFL, probably make their name a little bigger, and then bring it back to the NFL. So I think it's great. It's always gonna be up on the XFL though, always. Up on the NFL, always. Yeah. I think.
So the CFL. So I'm here in Toronto. Obviously, we talk a little CFL on the show. I told you my last episode, I did a CFL. So the CFL has a problem with revenue more than anything else, because in parts of Canada, the CFL is extremely popular. However, they rely not solely, but primarily on actual ticket sales, people going to the games. So obviously COVID has changed that dynamic and they've had to cancel the season. I've suggested a merger or a purchase of the XFL purchasing the CFL and creating a North American Football League. Now, I would say for my Canadian fans who are traditionalists, who love the 3 downs, et cetera, of the CFL, they can either keep the name CFL or create like a Western Canadian Football League, because really the CFL is bigger in Western Canada, in Saskatchewan, Alberta, in BC. It's not as popular here in Toronto. Obviously, the Argos, even when they're good, have some trouble drawing. But keep that traditional CFL game there, but really create a North American Football League with the XFL. And I've also created like this revenue generating thing where, why do most of my friends like football? Not us who watch football every week. Like, I mean, my outside of sports fans people, and they love betting. I love fantasy. I love prop bets. And I said, hey, that's a way to generate revenue for the CFL is I'll bet on anything. Is it a run or a pass? Is it going to go for 5 yards or more, 10 yards or more? You know, is there going to be a fumble, an interception? Like literally bet on everything and make fantasy a bigger part of the game. Obviously, they didn't do that. They decided to shut down for the season. So there's a lot of info there I gave you. One, do you think it makes sense for the XFL to make a bid to kind of create this North American Football League, bring some of these Canadian teams in? And two, gambling. Is that something that you would encourage teams to focus on who are having revenue issues?
I think firstly, I actually thought about the XFL and the CFL come together. I thought I was gonna bring it up to the guys a couple of weeks back on the show, but it kind of crossed my mind because we had a couple of special guests on. But I think that would be a tremendous idea because the audience, it would be a whole lot bigger there. It'd be a big because XFL CFL, I think it'd be a great there. It'd be a great opportunity because I mean they'll be one step away from players. Be one step away from getting to the NFL where they ultimately want to get to. Right. So I think that would be great because you mean XFL, the CFL audience is a whole lot bigger than the XFL, obviously. You know what I mean? Because but the XFL, they've been out for a while, but they're back to come back. So I think if they merge together, they do come back, that would be great. I think would definitely be great.
Yeah, my plan. Listen, I don't know if you know this or not. I sent a long list, kind of a plan to the CFO of the CFL, and this was 2 years ago. I want to say because I see so much opportunity there. And one of the things I said was stop trying to compete at the same time as the NFL. I know the season kind of starts at the tail end of it, but do it. And I don't know if you know this too, if you've seen the CFL schedule, there's a lot of games like on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays. And I said, start after the NFL draft, right? It allows you to pick up a bunch of undrafted NFL players, gives them a place to showcase their talents. Yeah, listen, their end goal is probably to get to the NFL. Okay, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you play every Sunday, right, and the CFL is going to be on every Sunday during the off season, like I said, it allows people to showcase, rehab, veteran players who want to maybe make a comeback, plus then your CFL game. I think it creates some interest because what do we do as football fans all summer long? We beg for football content. We're watching the NFL Network in July, trying to see like how's that draft pick doing in the in OTAs and with this team, and we're projecting rosters. And I have guys sending me messages in July and August. Hey, can we do a fantasy draft? Right? Like there's so much interest in football throughout the summer that this gives you that outlet. And I think it draws a lot of interest. And that's why I say when you combine it and make it the North American Football League, now you're getting the US and Canada watching and probably Europe too, right? Because they're really into football as well.
Yes. I could not agree with you anymore on that.
All right, well, let's send a proposal. Let's do it.
Yeah. I agree with you more.
So you guys do fantasy, right, on East West?
Yes.
I'm gonna leave you with the last question. It could be one, it could be a couple. Who are you looking this year? Because I'm starting to do some of my mock drafts as well. My draft obviously is here in about a week. Who should I look out for? Who should definitely be on my fantasy team, and who should I stay away from?
On your fantasy team this year, I definitely think Cortland Sutton from the Broncos. I think he should be up there. I think he's gonna have he had a pretty good year last year. I definitely think he can be up there. Michael Gallup, I think he should be up there from the Cowboys. I think he could go with CeeDee Lamb, Mari Cooper right there. I think he should be up there. I know I'm sticking with wide receivers. I'm gonna give you a running back to look out for this year. Let me see who that I'm gonna say a pretty good running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire from the Chiefs.
Now I don't trust running backs with the Chiefs.
I don't need to, but I think with the running back with Damian Wills opting out this year due to what's going on with him opting out and all those weapons around there, those lanes are gonna be open for him. And Andy Reid, he's gonna run that ball this year. Reports coming out of camp are great on him. He's looking real good. So I definitely think.
I went out on a limb last year with Damian Williams. I drafted Williams, and he had a few good games, but he killed me.
I'm gonna give you a sleeper one too. This might shock. Mike Gesicki, the tight end from the Miami Dolphins. Take him this year.
All right. What are one of the big names that you would stay away from?
You should stay away from.
Now I'm gonna go with the big names. Obviously, someone that like, hey, we think he's gonna be a first or second round pick, but I'd be very cautious in taking him.
That's a pretty interesting one. Well, I would say Amari Cooper. Because last year he was kind of high in fantasy. I mean, at some points of the year, I think I'm gonna say Amari Cooper. I mean, you look at what's around. You got Gallup and CD, and I mean, they got a lot of mouths to fill in that offense.
Right.
So I think you should stay away from him this year because I know a lot of people that won some leagues with him last year. So I think you should definitely stay away from him for this year. And another name I think, let me see, I want to give you a quarterback. Who don't stay away from this year?
Well, the big quarterbacks, you're talking Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, right? Those guys are going to probably go too early.
It definitely are. How about? Oh man, this is a good
Drew
one, man.
Brees.
I think Drew was gonna be solid this year in fantasy.
Yeah.
I think he'd be solid. How about Ben Roethlisberger?
Roethlisberger, right? That's a name we don't talk about because he was injured last year.
You don't know how he's going to respond. I mean, reports out of camp is that he's looking good, but anybody looks good against Aaron. They come over here. So I think Big Ben. I mean, they got some okay weapons there, but he's coming back from injury. You don't know how that offense is going to look. You don't know how Big Ben's going to look. I think he got a couple more years left in him. So I think he's normally real good in fantasy though.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, when he had AB and Juju and it's easy to be a good quarterback when you got those two guys. You know, I remember I was down, not to go into a deep fantasy story, but I remember I was down, I want to say 8 points on Monday night, and Ben Roethlisberger threw a little 2 or 3 yard out to Juju Smith-Schuster, who went 96 yards for a touchdown and won me the week. So when you got guys who can do that, it makes it easier. I'm going to throw out one other name to you because this was a fantasy stud. And over the last 2 years, you know, people have still drafted him high, but he has not produced. And this year he's in a new situation. And we talked about the trade earlier. David Johnson.
I think, like I said, I think they're going to surprise some people this year. And I think David Johnson's going to have a pretty good year because I think Bill O'Brien and Deshaun Watson, that Texas, they're going to use him a lot more than what Arizona did. You know, because last year I went away from David Johnson. I think the system he's in now, he's in a great position to succeed this year. I think so. So I think David Johnson is definitely pretty good.
Fantastic. Kendall, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I'm going to call you whatever happens to Houston. I'm going to call you, and we're going to have another chat.
Hey, yes, sir, man. Hey, I can't wait, man. Anytime, man. Real quick, shout out East West Football Podcast. Y'all can go follow us on all.
Yes. Where can they find?
We on Apple. Go talk. We on Instagram, East West Sports Power 1, or you can just put in East West Football Podcast. The website, we got a website, East West Football Network. I forgot to talk about on the network. We got a website up. We got like 25 to 30 scouts and writers are part of our network. So we're a big network now. It's not just me, Jerry Fidel. We have a big network up under us. So, and they go to our website. You can check it out. They scout reports, all the stories, all that on our website. They're doing a very good job there. We just got on YouTube a couple weeks back. A lot of content out there. We're about to upload some more content this week. And hey, we're doing it big here, man. I appreciate you having me on the show, man.
All right. Thanks again. And guys, remember to check out the East West Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at sports_fluent. Thanks again, Kendall.
Appreciate it.